Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for listening today. We welcome back to the Moms on a Mission podcast, Annabella Rockwell. She is a conservative media commentator, and she weighs in on the new U.S. Supreme Court ruling in which they did not uphold the Florida drag show law while an appeal proceeds before the 11th Circuit. We also discuss Assembly Bill 665 that Governor Newsom in California recently signed into law, which quote unquote increases mental health care access for low and income youth. Except, as Annabella points out, now children as young as 12 can seek mental health care without parental involvement and notification. This is a very important conversation. But first, I wanted to remind you about Doctors Mark and Michelle Sherwood's Kingdom Fuel. I drink this every day. It is so great for your body. In fact, I have it here right now. So go to sherwood.tv/mission to save 10% off of your purchases. That's sherwood.tv/mission. And as always, we'd be so honored if you followed us. We love Rumble because it's uncensored. All of our content is there. If you go to Rumble, you go to the search bar and you type in Moms on a Mission, and then just click follow, and then you'll be notified when all of our episodes are uploaded, and then like and share our episodes as well. Annabella Rockwell, thanks for joining us again on the Moms on a Mission podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
So today, Annabella and I are going to talk about a couple of issues. Annabella is a commentator and a conservative one now. She's found the truth, and she is an expert in all things as it relates to DEI and culture and things of that nature. And so, Annabella, I wanted to talk to you today about the latest situation in Florida. So Governor DeSantis had signed into a law that drag queens could not perform in areas where children and younger kids could be exposed to this provocative performances. And so that happened. And then there was a pushback against this law. And so I wanted to just read what has happened and update everyone. This is from the Epic Times, and they reported on this recently. And basically, the Supreme Court turned away Florida's request to reinstate its law regulating drag shows, which had been blocked by the lower courts. So the courts had a stay on this so that it could really be further delved into. And what I found the most interesting, I wanted to ask you, so two of our justices did not allow the stay to remain in place, and it was Justice Brett Kavanaugh and Justice Amy Coney Barrett. And I thought what was interesting for the justification of this was they said, quote, "The court's denial of the stay indicates nothing about our view on whether Florida's new law violates the First Amendment." And then he goes on to say that they made this decision based on the fact that they don't know that this actually will ever be allowed to be enacted into law. And so they determine what they're going to do with the stay based on if they think that it'll actually be viable or not. And I thought that that's interesting because the three other conservative justices did vote to allow the stay to remain in place.
I love that you pointed that out, and it is very interesting. And what kind of was blowing my mind and why I was hoping we would talk about this is because the Governor DeSantis's law outlawed minors, so under 18, from going to an adult show. And if you go to a movie that's, R-rated, it says, you can't be under a certain age. And so many of these drag shows, they're happening in bars, they're happening in places that you can't even be 21 to enter regardless. And to me, if you can't go into an adult store under a certain age, why is this so controversial to, outlaw a child from watching an adult show, which is what a drag show is? I think that there should be a lot more uproar about this, and I really haven't heard many people talk about it, which is why I'm so glad that you're bringing it to the forefront, because I went on Newsmax the other day, and we were talking about the Macy's Day Parade because there's this group called 1 Million Moms, and they are all about they're all about exposing sort of the Marxist LGBTQ agenda in entertainment and in Hollywood, and making things appropriate for children again, because obviously we see there's a lot of inappropriateness in TV shows for kids that are like under the age of 5. And they had this big petition. They got 33,000 signatures. And the reason they signed it is because there are 2 performers in the Macy's Day Parade that are non-binary that are performing. And so these 1 million moms are really upset about this. And whereas I understand their mission, I also had to stop and be like, I think that we have so many issues right now, and this Supreme Court one speaks to a broader problem with the country, and the fact that those 2 conservative judges didn't vote to uphold this. And why isn't the governor allowed to say no one under the age of 18 is allowed into, a minor shouldn't be allowed to go to an adult show? It's just, why does that go against free speech? I don't understand. Yet so and the reason I bring in the Macy's thing is just because I understand what those women were doing, but we need to really be very intentional and directed with what we're focusing on. And I think that focusing on the law specifically is a way that change can be made.
And don't you feel like Republicans are a bit scattered? I feel like we don't seem to be in great lockstep like the progressive lefts. I feel like you could see it with Nancy Pelosi. I mean, whatever she said, it was always 100% allegiance. And I just don't see the same on the Republican side of the fence. It's like we're going after different issues and they're all important, but I feel like we need to be more laser focused and in sync with each other to make some positive moves.
Yeah, we're definitely not in lockstep. And I have a twofold answer. For one, Republicans are meant to be the party of free speech. So where I like diversity of idea, I understand why we're not in lockstep on everything. And I think what I get upset is that on the big issues, we're not always in lockstep, right? Like for the most part, the border and guns, but we're not in lockstep when it comes to trying to fund our border, yet also sending billions of dollars overseas. I'd like to see more cohesion on issues like that. And also something like protecting children. Like we should be cohesive on this issue. We're in a culture war. We're in a cultural battle for the soul of this country. And our morality is being attacked. Our patriotism is being attacked. Our spirituality is being attacked. And as we chip away at each of those things, those are pillars for what keeps us united. And if we can't have conservatives or Republicans at least back like very basic things, like let's just protect our children, I don't know if the party really has a great future ahead. They don't. If you look at the last election, like there was no red wave in 2022.
Right.
And Gen Z is like 70% Democrat, but like progressive. They vote very, very blue. It's not a light blue. It's a dark blue.
Yeah. And I guess my concern as to what you're saying is that these are things that we should all be in agreement on. When you look just logically, kids can't go into a casino. Why? Because their brains aren't fully developed. Why? Like you mentioned, the movies. Why? Because their brain's not fully developed and they cannot absorb this in a healthy manner, this information and these environments. And so like you said, too, they can't go into certain adult stores. I mean, there is a logical reason behind all this. And all of a sudden, it's like it doesn't apply in this situation. And it's just completely illogical to me.
Yeah, well, because it's involving a very protected community. And, drag shows, nobody really has a problem with drag shows. If you're an adult and you go to a drag show, I don't think people care, right? But it's why are we bringing them into libraries? I find it really interesting that librarians are primarily women. I thought women were supposed to be the protectors of children. Why are women opening up spaces for this? A drag show is meant to be a late night entertainment for adults. If you find it fun, and that's your jam, like go do it by all means. But it's the same as how we wouldn't bring bottles of champagne into a library and encourage drinking. Or, why are we encouraging like this kind of behavior? And it's not under the guise of tolerance. It is under the guise of control. It's like compliance and compliance and compliance. It's not open-mindedness. I think that it's, control and manipulation. And it's just slippery slope.
Yeah. And really just trying to destroy the family unit and get to the kids. Because when you can get to the soul of the kids, then you can get to the soul of the nation. And that's what this is all about, is to deconstruct our nation. And when you have these strong pillars on Jesus Christ that have been there for years and years and years, you have to have this systematic approach. And as you experience in the university, at the university level, you start there, but now they have continued to get to reach even younger and younger students and kids. And now it's like you could be in a library and be 3 and not even be in any type of program. And they're trying to access the kids there. So I did want to ask you what your thoughts were on this. I thought this was fascinating. In the article, they said that one of the reasons why that the justices didn't think it was likely that this could survive strict scrutiny, the law, because it did not employ sufficient narrowly tailored means to further the state's compelling interest in protecting minors from obscene performances. Yet the law was incredibly specific about what they were seeing as it related to sexual gestures. They didn't say just looking at them in the costume. I mean, they were very specific. So I just thought that was kind of confusing that they were acting like it was so vague when it was, in my mind, it was very specific. I didn't know how more specific they could have gotten.
It's very confusing, and I can't, go into the minds of the justices why they specifically said that. But I do know, and this might be a motivator for them, might not be, but there is a fear of calling out this behavior, because if you say the wrong thing, step on toes, you're immediately called, a phobe of some sort. And, I know a Supreme Court justice needs to stay very neutral. But I don't see why what the governor did wouldn't align with the law. I think that minors, we have special protections around them for a reason. I think that this makes perfect sense. It's a known thing that drag shows are sexualized. If you go to any drag show anywhere in any city, like, that's the whole point. It's meant to be a seductive performance. It's not kid friendly, and that's okay. That doesn't have to be offensive. Like, we have adult time and they're kids time. Like, I don't want to watch cartoons because it's for children, but it's okay. And I don't know why we can't collectively just be like, we're going to separate the two. Why do we need to bring inappropriateness into child spaces? And that is an even deeper rooted issue. Like, we see it in books that kids are given that are really sexually explicit or almost pornographic. And it's like, why are we doing this? Like, this is very sick. Like, this is going to hurt children. This is going to manifest in years. They're going to have issues because they were taught something at too young an age, too inappropriate, and it's a burden for a child. Child can only handle so much. A child doesn't understand nuance. And so when we're throwing in all these things, we're throwing in a drag queen, they don't understand even what they're seeing. It's too complicated. So why are we putting it in front of their face? I think that the people making these laws, or encouraging this, I wonder, do they have kids of their own? Or they may be a victim of something. It's almost like the bullied who turns into the bully. Like, why is this? Why are people perpetuating this? Why is this happening? I think there's a lot of questions to be asked, and I don't know why the justices wouldn't just see it very clearly.
I did want to point out also that this place was a dining establishment that had obtained this injunction against the law. They'd offered a family-friendly drag performance on Sundays, which children were encouraged to attend. So like you said, I mean, this wasn't like a late night thing. This was, it wasn't even on a Friday at noon. It was Sunday. We all know families go out to lunch on Sunday. This was intentional to expose children to this. So it just seems like so logical. It doesn't seem like it's rocket science to protect children in this area. So I love that you are doing what you're doing to draw attention to this as well, because that's what it's going to take. Another thing I wanted to talk to you about was Governor Newsom signing on October 7th, AB 665, which was increasing mental health care access for low-income youth. What were your thoughts about that bill?
So what that bill actually means is that a 12-year-old in California is allowed to leave their home and go to a state-funded facility for any reason, and the state will keep them. So if I'm 12 and I'm maybe a difficult 12-year-old and I'm moody and my parents are arguing, or they're telling me I need to do my homework, or they're telling me I need to show up for practice, and I'm a bad behaved kid, I can run away and I don't have to go home. The state of California will shelter me. And this is, I heard someone say it's state mandated kidnapping. And I loved that because that's exactly what it is. This is furthering breaking up the home. And I just want parents to be very aware. If you're raising your kid in California, it's time to move because you have everything stacked against you. There is no protection for parents. The kids have all the right. There's also a push for 12-year-olds, 12 and up. I know this is happening in New York, to have the right to fully talk to their doctor without their parents knowing. So a kid can have, like, a parent is always meant to be involved in any sort of doctor's appointment, right? Like that makes a lot of sense. And we're seeing this with the gender ideology, is that a 12-year-old can decide that they want to go on hormones and they don't have to have parents sign off on it in certain states. These are proposals and things that are passing, and California Assembly Bill 665 should scare people. It should scare parents.
Yeah. And, Governor Newsom did. I was shocked, but then when I realized he's probably running for president, when there was a bill that was potentially he was going to sign off on, if there was a dispute, a custody dispute, and there was a gender option up for conversation with the child, and one parent wanted the boy or girl to be transgender and the other parent didn't, then he was going to sign into law that the child should go with the more quote unquote affirming parent. And I was shocked that he did not sign that into law. But then I thought, well, maybe that was just too much for Californians to handle. And maybe that's why he didn't sign it into law, because he was thinking about his presidential bid. And so I thought that was interesting. But regarding this bill 665, it's so fascinating to me when I was researching this bill and the way that they frame it. Again, it's like DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. All these things sound so great. But when you really look in to see what they're actually going to be providing the access to these children, it's just completely damaging to the family structure. And they phrase it in a way like, oh, well, 12-year-olds have this access, with healthcare and they have this type of access. So we're just allowing them to have medical access. If it's California Medicaid, now they have access to the same things that whites have had and more wealthy people have had with regular traditional insurance. So we're just providing them the same thing. And that's the way that they describe it.
Yeah, it's very creative wording. It's very creative wording. The reality of it is that your 12-year-old can make the decision to leave home and you don't have to have any prior, no prior instances of police involvement or anything. They can just do it. And I think it's dangerous for kids because it's going to open them up for being taken advantage of or being groomed, or it's just for those that actually do need to be taken and are in actual abusive households. It also it diminishes true abuse or true trauma. I think that we're in a weird point in society where, people stub their toe and they equate it to trauma, and it's not. So this is another one of those bills that it's a very slippery slope. I was so happy when the other bill in California didn't get passed, and I thought the same. I was like, I wonder if Newsom is in some weird way trying to, appeal to moderates, quote unquote. But a lot of parents fought that bill. A friend of mine, Harrison Tinsley, was a spokesman for it, and he is dealing with the exact same thing. So he has a young son, and his son is a little boy, and, Harrison affirms his boyhood, but he's dealing in a custody battle with a mother who has been dressing the child as a girl.
Yes, he's been on our show, and he
oh, no way.
He's who I was thinking of when I said that, and I just thought, oh my gosh, what Harrison is battling right now is just unbelievable. Yeah. But I was texting him the day that it didn't pass, and we were like, thank you, Jesus. Even if it's because he's running for president, we don't care. It didn't pass. So yes, well, I am so grateful for your perspective. I'm grateful for your information and wisdom that you can share on these two topics. And parents really need to become more vested in this information. And if you're in California, like Annabella said, you probably need to leave at this point. So thank you, Annabella, so much for your wisdom. I so appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. This was fun.
And follow Annabella on social media. She also has a website, and you can connect with her that way. And thank you all so much for listening, and God bless. In light of recent bank volatility and skyrocketing inflation, diversification is a must. That's why I use my good friend Andrew Sorcini at Beverly Hills Precious Metals. Beverly Hills Precious Metals makes it so easy to diversify. I personally ordered some silver and it arrived on my doorstep just a few days later. They make it so easy. And if you're not ready to do that and you just want to ask a few questions, they're there for you too. I personally got some silver and also am rolling over some of my IRA. You can actually roll over your IRA and have it be backed by silver and gold. So if you don't have any extra money to invest in silver and gold, rolling over a 401k or an IRA, or even part of it, if you just want to try it at first, just for a little bit, you can do that as well. So go to bh-pm.com today and ask all your questions. You can connect with somebody. And like I said, you can just get some information at first if you want and pray about it, and then get back with them to roll over part of your IRA or all of it, or order some gold and silver. That's bh-pm.com. and tell them that Moms on a Mission sent you. Hey, everybody. Did you know that recent research from the CDC says that millions of Americans develop parasitic infections and symptoms often go unnoticed or are misdiagnosed? Parasites are actually the cause of many health problems such as anxiety, depression, chronic pain, fatigue, and unexplained digestive issues. We all need a common sense strategy to improve our health. Moms on a Mission encourages you to reach out to our good friend, Dr. Jason Dean. Dr. Dean's Full Moon Protocol provides all natural detoxification and fights inflammation. And the supplements are made with 100% organic ingredients and are proven to kill parasites safely and effectively. I know after I took Full Moon Protocol, I had more energy. To order your Full Moon Protocol today, go to bravetv.store/mission to save $20 off your first order. That's bravetv.store/mission. According to leading sleep experts and sleephealth.org, over 50 million Americans struggle getting a good night's rest. That's why Moms on a Mission loves MyPillow. MyPillow makes amazing pillows, sheets, mattress toppers, robes, towels, literally almost everything you need for a good night's sleep. They also make dog beds for your dogs. So by going to mypillow.com, typing in the code MISSION, you not only receive a high quality product, but you're supporting Moms on a Mission and this podcast. If you like what you're hearing and you agree with it, you believe in it, and you want to support Moms on a Mission, then go to mypillow.com today and order some high quality products and just type in the code MISSION at checkout and you can save up to 66% off. That's mypillow.com, code MISSION.
Since 2014, Organic Body Essentials has offered clean, simple, certified organic skincare. Our organic face-to-feet and federally compliant hemp and pet products are manufactured under USDA and FDA guidelines. Our products are inspired by God using plants He created. In Ezekiel 47:12, it says, "The fruit is for food and the leaves for healing." We believe in the power of God to heal, so we pray over our products and for our customers. Our therapy in a bottle approach has been widely received, and our customers' testimonials continue to inspire us. You can find us at organicbodyessentials.com and obe.organicbodyessentials.com. Please feel welcome to reach out with questions. Use coupon code MISSION at checkout for a discount. Thank you for your support by using MISSION at checkout to benefit Moms on a Mission and their quest to reestablish traditional values in our education system and empowerment for a healthy lifestyle.